Om Shanti. 16th June 2018, Saturday. Today's blessing is, may you be a master knowledgeful, and by knowing each one's nature and sanskar, remain safe instead of clashing with anyone. To make any situation big or small depends on your own intellect. Since you know one another's nature and sanskars, then being knowledgeful, you cannot clash with anyone's nature or sanskars. When people are aware that there is a pit or mountain somewhere, then because of knowing that, they would not fall into it or crash into it, but would move aside. Similarly, when you move away, you make yourself safe. Do not move away from your work, but with the power of your safety, also make others safe. This is what it means to step aside. Baba is saying, to make any situation big or small, it depends on your own intellect. Since you know each one's sanskars and nature, and being knowledgeful, you cannot clash with anyone's nature or sanskars. So, to make anything big or small depends on our intellect. To make big thing small or small thing big is entirely depending upon us. In psychology, there's a beautiful word in cognitive psychology which is known as magnification. What is magnification is, there is opposite of that is minimization. One is magnification, another is minimization. These are the two words very common in cognitive psychology. Magnification means you make mole out of mountain. You make mountain out of mole. You stretch the truth, overstate the truth, exaggerate the truth, overrate the truth. If suppose the thing is very small, but you describe it in such a manner that it appears very big, that phenomenon is known as magnification. There's another which is known as minimization, where the thing is very big, but you make it appear as very small. So Baba is saying in today's Murli, Vardhan, that any situation, whether you make big or small, depends on your own intellect. It depends how you see the situation. A person who is inexperienced, a person who is immature, a person who lacks the experience of that particular thing, if suddenly that thing happens, the person feels it's a very big thing. He gets afraid. He's running from pillar to post, trying to seek help and succor from each and everyone, and is inside in that stage of fear. So, whatever that is happening in life, all the situations that are coming in front of us, it is entirely upon us how do we see them. If we see them as very big, they will appear big. If we see them as very small, they will appear small. It all depends on our perception of the situation. So, as I said, this magnification versus minimization. Where do I suffer from this cognitive disorder? Where do I suffer from this psychological disorder? It is a psychological distortion, they say. Distortion means not normal. So it becomes an habit because we have been practicing it from quite a long time, that we try to magnify everything. Things are small, we make it big. Things are very minimal, we try to see them as big. Not only we try to see, but we spread the news in that manner. So every small thing will appear big. There's a beautiful story that once a yogi or sannyasi was sitting in the jungle and doing tapasya, and all of a sudden he hears uproar. All of a sudden he hears the commotion. The entire animals, all the animals of that jungle are running, and he finds what is happening, and he finds that a bear is there and it is running and it is saying the end of the world is near and the end of the world is near, and that bear is the group of bear are running. And then he asks, who told you that the end of the world is near? He says, what are you doing here? Just run, because end of the world is near. So the sannyasi asked, but who told you? He said, look behind. The whole group of elephants are coming. They have told us. He sees and he meets that elephant. What has happened? Elephant says, what are you doing here? Just run. The end of the world is near. Just start running. Just start running. So he said, but who told you? He said, look below. The lion is coming from below. He told us. He asked the lion, what has happened? He says, what are you doing here? Just run, because the end of the world is near. And the lion has no time to stop. He just runs away. Then he sees group of foxes behind. He asks them, what has happened? They say, don't waste time, because there is no time, because the end of the world is near. We have to run. He says, but who told you exactly? Actually, he says, the group of these rabbits. So he catches hold of a rabbit. Wait, tell me what has happened. He says, one of the rabbits says, the end of the world is near. But who told you? So one of the rabbits says, I told. So he says, come, how do you got to know that the end of the world is near? So the rabbit says, because I have heard from my ancestor that whenever you hear a splash, a big noise, the end of the world is near. And I heard it myself. So where did you hear that? He says, I was resting under a mango tree. And suddenly I heard a voice, a big voice. And it was the end of the world. He says, take me to the tree. And he takes him to the tree. And he says, where you were sleeping? Here. And where did you hear the voice? Here. Was it the voice of the falling of the mango? He says, probably, it could be. So it was the mango that fell and the rabbit, a fearful creature. He says, the end of the world is here, and he started running and the whole jungle was following him. And it became a big event. And then when he narrated this thing, all animals were smiling, laughing on themselves. It all depends on us, how we make things. So Baba is telling that to make any situation big or small depends on your intellect. This is one thing. Second, since you know each one's nature and sanskars, and you being knowledgeful, you cannot clash with anyone's nature or sanskar. A knowledgeful person is there. Baba has given a beautiful example. Suppose there is a pit, there is a ditch, there is a hole, there is a mountain somewhere, and you know that it is there. You would not fall into it or crash into it, but you would move aside, kinara karna. You will move aside. So in the similar manner, if person A is there, and you know A's nature and A's sanskar, you will keep away. Try to interact with that person knowing his sanskars. It is not picking up his faults or failings or imperfections. But Baba has said in one of the Avyakta Murlis that you must know all the neighboring leaves wherever you are there, whether it is house, home, family, office, department. But if there is a one department, one place, and there are 10 people there, you must know each and everyone's sanskar. And suppose you are here, because you have to interact with all of those people. And if you do not know, you will get hurt, depressed, frustrated. You will expect something from somebody and they will not fulfill your expectation, and that will lead to despondency and despair. So, Baba is telling that you must know each one's sanskar, each one's nature. And if you know that sanskar, there is no point in going and hitting that person. It's utter waste of time. It's just like hitting a mountain. It's just like falling into a pit. So, move away. Don't move away from the work. Stay there. Keep yourself safe. So Baba has used a new word today. A new power. Power of safety. Have you ever heard this power? This is a new power. With this power of safety, make yourself safe and make others safe. So, what is exactly the power of safety? This is a good homework or a new power. With this power of safety, make yourself safe and make others safe. Do not move away from work, but with the power of your own safety, also makes others safe. This is what it means to step aside. To step aside, kinara karna. Kinara doesn't mean to go away from the work, but to step aside from reacting in a particular manner, to step aside from generating a particular emotion, to step aside from this fault of magnification, to make mountain out of mole. To step aside from this is the real Purusharth. This is to keep yourself safe. Because just imagine if there are 10 people, 10 adverse people, 10 difficult people, difficult to manage people, 10 people with very tough sanskars. Each one is ready to pick fault. Each one is ready to criticize. Each one is ready to blame. There's a rampant blame game going on in that department or group of 10 people, and suppose you are made to be in a part of that company, and where everybody is irritable, everybody is ready to pick quarrels. How do you live in that situation? It's a very tough situation. But then with this power of safety you can do it. Suppose for example there is a room and there are 10 mothers accommodation. 10 mothers are given one room. It's a very tough situation. This is the ultimate practical example of Jnana and Yoga. How do you apply that? Because everybody's nature is different. Everybody is coming from a different sanskar. Their habits, their nature, their sanskars, their religion, their background, their deep internal rooted in their opinions, everything is different. Pre-formed sanskar, pre-organized sanskars, pre-formed ideas, belief systems, and it is very difficult. You cannot change them. They look at the thing at only one particular way. They do not know any other way. They just see only tubular vision, only one aspect of the thing. So, very tough to live amongst these people, but use the power of safety. How to remain safe? You are not going to fall into pit or crash against anyone. To keep oneself safe is the first seva, is the first service. Forget the service of the world, that is much later. But first seva, first service is to keep the soul, myself, safe. I should remain safe. Safe from reactions, safe from disturbances, safe from friction, safe from quarrel, safe from argument, safe from debates. I am not here to enter into unnecessary debate and waste my time. I am not here to argue with somebody, because out of argument comes nothing. It's best to accept defeat and stay calm. As said previously, in the battle of ego, the winner is loser. You can prove that I was right and you were wrong, but then in that victory also there is a defeat. So we are not here to prove anything before anybody. When we know the secret of drama. So there's a beautiful vardhan, beautiful blessing. Just churn on this. Om Shanti.